Alright, so after a little bit of muscling this thing off, I got the pulley wheel off. That bolt was kind of a pain. I ended up having to put a pipe on it, get enough torque on it. I tried torching it, tried PVC blaster, and nothing was doing it unless one of those things kind of helped out a little bit, but eventually I got it, got it off. So now all I got in my way is get the timing off, which should get kind of the front off here. Should be able to get those main bearings off, get the crank out, and then I think all that is left is the cam and the lifters, kind of inside there. So hopefully in the next hour or so I should have kind of all of that stuff out, and I'll pick things back up. We'll see where we're at. Alright, so dinked with it long enough. I got that pulley wheel off, managed to get all the bearings out, got the crank out, got the cam out, got the timing chain, all the timing stuff off. We are almost down to nothing but block, so I started pounding these freeze plugs out. I finally got the first one, and I don't know how much you can see it, but that is really nasty gunked in there. So I think what I'm going to do is, yeah, that was coolant at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and start fishing some of that gunk out. Obviously the engine's going to get clean, power clean, but I don't want mutant grease kind of pouring out of my car when I transfer it. So I'm going to clean these up, get all the rest of the plugs out. I got the broken oil filler tube pounded out too, so maybe they can press something new on there or do something with it. The only thing I really have left, besides those freeze plugs, is that stupid distributor. So I'm going to try and maybe bang on it from the top, see what happens, and see if I can't get that out. Then I'm going to wire brush some stuff down, start cleaning off all the gasket chunks that are still kind of left in here, and then I'll give it a quick wipe down, and then the block will be ready to take in for machining. And then I got to start taking apart those heads, get all the valve springs off, all the valves out, and start tearing that down so I can bring in the heads as well, in case there's something needed machine there. So keep plugging away. And down to the block she is, except for that gosh darn distributor. So I'm not gonna dick with that anymore. It's probably been a half hour of me just tooling on that thing. Maybe the PV blaster will kind of penetrate in, and maybe I'll have some better luck tomorrow or whenever. But the rest is down to the block. I think we're gonna call that a day. I kind of wiped it off a little bit more wire brushing, whatnot. Should be okay. I think I gotta start cleaning up the shop here. It's getting kind of disgusting, just covered and caked in grease and oil. This thing is really dirty. So I'm gonna let that roll. I think next step is start working on these heads over here. So I've got a cheap little spring compressor from Arbor Freight. I'm gonna see if that'll do the job, getting these guys off. If I can get the head stripped down and a couple of those, I got some more freeze plugs here I gotta get out, but if I can get those down, then I think it'll be ready to take the shop. I think that's all he needs is strip down as much as we can and then take it in, and I think they'll take care of the rest. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to take in the crankshaft and the camshaft. Camshaft kind of looks a little banged up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here, but pretty wore out. Kind of odd wearing patterns, but I did buy a caliper, so I might just take a stab at it and just see how tall the lobes are and see if that's to spec, or I don't really know how they should look, but they look pretty worn, so hopefully they're not too bad. I don't know if they do cam work at the shop I'm going to take it to, so we'll have to see. If they don't, I know I can buy these things new. They're just a few $100. Kind of the same with the crank. If the crank's too bad, and I don't know if the shop will do them or not, but there was a couple spots on one or two of these journals here that was a little scratched up, a little dinged, but not too bad. So I don't know if they're salvageable or what, but I'll take them in, see what the shop says, and we'll go from there. I was wondering where I left those. Alright, so I'm starting to take all the valve springs out and get the valves themselves out. They're coming okay. I'm using it's kind of a cheap Arbor Freight valve spring compressor here. It seems to work okay. You just had to, I'm guessing, had to get used to how it actually worked, and it slipped out a couple times, but the spring doesn't go anywhere, it just kind of stays put. The little jaws just kind of slip up, but seems to be alright, so I'll keep plugging away, get all of these valve springs out, all the valves, get all that going, clean the rest of this out, now that I got some of the acorns out, we'll give it a good scrape. On the bottom of this guy doesn't look terribly bad. I don't know how well you can actually see it, but I'll go bring it out in the light here. But I've got a little bit of gunk in there, so we'll get a good scraping on, clean some of these. I think those are supposed to be silver, but I think there's just a good layer of gunk on there all over. So I don't know if I'll wire brush it or not, or just kind of scrape the gasket off, call it a day, and let the machine shop take care of it. But I think that's the plan. We'll keep plugging away. Well, hopefully you can see it all right, but it is back. So I've got the 390 block back from the machine shop. I had a whole bunch of work done, cleaned it all off. For one, I got a little surface rust just from sitting a little too long, but had all the surfaces refinished. I had the bores done, I think 30 thousandths over. Got all those bored out. I don't know, well, you can see it here. I don't have a too good of a light, but I had all of the valve guides done, whole bunch of work done, and I've got it back on the engine stand. So we are back to working on this. I got all the parts, at least I think I've got all the parts. So got all brand new pistons, got the original bearings and whatnot, but I got new bearing inserts for all this. But kind of had all these done, all these sized, got a whole box of parts. I don't really even know all of what I have, but I hope it's everything I need. So yeah, the 390 is going to start getting some progress on it. I've got a few things coming, some assembly lube and just generic things I needed to actually begin work on this thing, but I think I'm about ready. We'll give it a good clean, brake clean it down. I'll probably take a little wire brush and just get a little surface rust off. I'm not going to paint it quite yet. We'll get some things assembled first before I get to that. But yeah, just wanted to update with a little bit of progress on this guy, and then hopefully we'll see some more videos with me beginning the assembly of the 390 Cadillac engine again. Fingers crossed. I've got all of my notes, all of my parts, and all the little widgets I needed for this cataloged well enough, because I don't exactly know what I'm doing here. So I'm kind of guessworking most of it and hoping it all works out in the end. But yeah, follow along.